Right now, something unusual is happening in the global economy, and most people don't even realize it. The same warning signs that appeared before some of the biggest financial crashes in history are quietly showing up again. From rising interest rates to slowing consumer spending, the signals are already there, but most people are still ignoring them. Today, we will talk about the global recession warning everyone is ignoring. So, before we get started, make sure to hit that like button. Also subscribe to my channel 10. Falling consumer spending. People around the world are slowly starting to spend less money, and this is a bigger problem than it looks. At first, it may seem normal, maybe people are just being careful with their money. But in reality, consumer spending is one of the main forces that keeps any economy running. When people stop buying things like clothes, electronics, or even basic items, businesses begin to earn less. And when businesses earn less, they start cutting costs. This can lead to fewer job opportunities, lower salaries, and slower growth overall. From busy shopping malls to online stores, this slowdown is becoming more visible. And history shows that when spending drops like this, it is often one of the earliest warning signs that a recession could be coming. 9. Rising interest rates. To control rising prices, central banks are increasing interest rates, but this solution comes with its own problems. When interest rates go up, borrowing money becomes more expensive. Loans for homes, cars, and businesses all start costing more. Because of this, people begin to avoid taking loans, and businesses become more careful about investing or expanding. This slows down economic activity step by step. For example, fewer people can afford to buy houses, fewer businesses take risks, and fewer new projects begin. Over time, this creates pressure across the entire economy. What starts as a small increase in rates can slowly turn into a much bigger slowdown. 8. Increasing debt levels. Another serious warning sign is the growing level of debt across the world. Governments, companies, and even everyday people are borrowing more money than ever before. While borrowing can help in the short term, too much debt becomes dangerous over time. When interest rates rise, paying back this debt becomes even harder. This creates a risky situation where even a small economic problem can turn into a bigger financial crisis. If businesses struggle to repay loans or governments face high debt pressure, it can affect the entire system. High debt levels don't cause a recession on their own, but they make everything much more fragile and much easier to break when problems begin. 7. Weak global trade between countries is starting to slow down, and this is a strong signal that something is not right in the global economy. When countries trade less with each other, it affects everything from factories and businesses to jobs and income. Exports begin to drop, meaning companies sell fewer goods overseas. At the same time, supply chains become unstable, causing delays and higher costs. Businesses that depend on international trade start to struggle to maintain growth. This doesn't just impact one country, it spreads across multiple economies. When global trade weakens like this, it usually points to deeper economic problems building up in the background. 6. Stock market volatility. The stock market is becoming more unstable, with prices moving up and down more quickly than usual. One day the market rises, the next day it drops sharply, creating uncertainty for investors. While some level of movement is normal, constant volatility often shows that investors are unsure about the future. When confidence is low, people become more careful with their money. They invest less, take fewer risks, and start preparing for possible losses. This kind of behavior can slow down economic growth even further. In simple terms, when the stock market becomes unpredictable, it often reflects fear and uncertainty in the overall economy, and that is never a good sign. 5. Rising unemployment concerns. Another worrying sign is the growing concern around unemployment. In many parts of the world, companies are starting to slow down hiring, and some are even cutting jobs to reduce costs. When businesses expect difficult times ahead, their first step is often to save money, and that usually means fewer employees. As more people lose jobs or struggle to find work, they spend less money. And when spending goes down, businesses earn less, which can lead to even more job cuts. This creates a cycle that is hard to break. Rising unemployment doesn't just affect individuals, it impacts the entire economy and slows everything down over time. 4. Declining manufacturing activity. Factories around the world are now producing less than before, and this is a clear warning sign that the economy is slowing down. Manufacturing is one of the most important indicators of economic health because it shows how much demand there is for goods. When factories start cutting production, it usually means fewer orders are coming in. Businesses are simply not selling as much as they used to, so they reduce output to avoid losses. But this slowdown doesn't stop at factories. It spreads across the entire system. Supply chains begin to weaken, exports start to fall, and industries connected to manufacturing also feel the impact. Over time, this reduces overall economic momentum. When production keeps declining like this, it often shows that the economy is losing strength, and it can be an early sign that bigger problems may be ahead. 3. Housing market slowdown. The housing market is starting to slow down in many parts of the world, and this is a clear warning sign. Buying a home has become much harder because property prices are high and loans have become more expensive due to rising interest rates. Because of this, fewer people are able or willing to buy homes. As demand falls, the entire housing sector begins to feel the pressure. This doesn't just affect buyers and sellers, it impacts construction companies, banks, and millions of jobs connected to real estate. At the same time, it lowers consumer confidence, as people begin to feel uncertain about their financial future. The housing market plays a major role in the economy, and when it slows down like this, it often signals that bigger problems may be coming. 2. Persistent inflation pressure. Even though inflation may have slowed slightly, prices are still high in many places, and that continues to put pressure on people. Everyday essentials like food, fuel, and basic services are still costing more than before. For most families, this means a higher cost of living and tighter budgets. When people are forced to spend more on basic needs, they naturally cut back on other things like shopping, travel, and entertainment. This drop in spending directly affects businesses and slows down economic growth. Persistent inflation doesn't just hurt in the short term, it keeps the pressure on the economy for a longer time and makes recovery more difficult. 1. Yield curve inversion. This is one of the strongest and most serious warning signs, and it's something experts watch very closely. It may sound complicated at first, but the idea is actually simple. A yield curve inversion happens when short-term interest rates become higher than long-term interest rates. Under normal conditions, this doesn't happen. Long-term rates are usually higher because lending money for a longer time carries more risk, so investors expect better returns. But when this pattern suddenly flips, it sends a strong signal that something is not right in the economy. It often means that investors are losing confidence in the future and are expecting slower growth or even a recession. This shift doesn't happen randomly. It has historically appeared before major economic downturns. What do you think of our video? Let me know in the comment section below. Before you go, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.